Hello everyone, how yous all doing tonight? Welcome back to another hangout. I'm just going to talk about some of the flat earth stuff this week. I shouldn't really be, I'm a bit tired, but I've watched a few videos like Dell from Beyond Imaginary Curve, and kudos to Dell. I'll give his wee video a review later. He done no bad, I've got to say. But I'm proud of my city. I'm proud of how my city's full of critical thinkers, even to people like Dell, like they were critically thinking about it. None of them walked away like flat earthers, I don't think. None of them even walked away thinking about it, I don't think. Again, they would have went away and had their coffee. This is what I was trying to say to Osman when I was speaking to Osman, that I think we give the individual too much credit. I think a lot of people don't care what shape the planet is. It's proved to me by gathering evidence and presenting it that people don't care anyway. Even if they're flat earth, they don't care. They're not even willing to even do any research or their own. They want everything handed to them on a plate. And maybe this is what the powers that be, why they hide certain things from us, because maybe we don't deserve it. We just want everything handed to us on a plate instead of being interested in the subjects. Anyway, I'm going to talk about Poncho Pete Chan. What the hell's going on over there, guys? Come on. What the hell is that? It's a circus. It's a total circus. So they've blocked all the wee channels, all the good guys, all the normal guys. Flat earthers, globers, whoever, they blocked them all. And you're starting to see the potatoes arrive. Patricia's quite, she's in the chat all the time now. Nathan Oakley's made an appearance. Mark Sargent's made an appearance. Geronism's made an appearance. All these people have suddenly made an appearance. And have you seen that? If anyone's watched that channel for at least half an hour, they'll know it's just full of holiday garbage, and it does the flat earth no good. Even if the flat earth was true, that channel doesn't do it any good at all. No way. No way. I don't care what your cause is. Your cause could be animal rights. Animal rights, like, let's just say animal rights. right? So we've got a channel, a live 24 hangout. We want people to be raised awareness for animal rights. Would you have some guy sitting effing and seeing everybody blocking it, acting the way he acts? Would any cause have that? Greenpeace, anything, Scientology, anything. Actually, would any movement or scene have a hangout room like that? And the top brass potatoes in this scene appear on it. Does that make sense to anyone? Am I the only one that sees that there's something terribly wrong here? Terribly wrong. That Poncho guy, man, he can't even start his own channel. He tried to do his own hangouts. His first hangout was with a little boy, and he could hardly work it. I think that Vince guy started it, and he's slurring. He can hardly speak English. He butts into conversations with unnecessary garbage. Like he butts in and then he says, "I got an email to say that this email is good because the Earth." And it's things like that, and the people having a discussion suddenly lose their train of thought. It's like, what were we talking about again? I think it's deliberate. He's just an idiot, that guy. He's got nothing to offer. So I don't know what is with this Poncho shit, honestly, guys. Timmy sniped it again. Quite funny, actually. And the more and more these people get sniped, the better. I don't care. And the thing is, everyone turned on me for speaking to Tim. And all I done wrong was being in Poncho Pete's chat room the same time Tim sniped it. That was it. And everything's turned on me. Weird. But that's Flat Earth. The people in Flat Earth is a certain... They're like religious nutcases. One minute they could be your friend, next minute they can be burning you on the stake, lynching you. It's weird. And guys like the lie Ohio, he's trying to like get me Vancouver's heat with this passive aggressive nonsense. First he's attacking, then he's passive aggressive, and he's saying this and that. And guys like the lie Ohio are the worst because they have all this equipment. The lie Ohio has thousands of pounds worth of telescope, laptop, optical equipment to look at the moon. And he spent a whole year looking at the moon. And he still not came to a conclusion. Even though we can see 59% of the moon. 59%, that's more than half, which makes it a ball. It has to be, because we can see more than half. We see around the edges a wee bit. So this whole Poncho Chan thing, man, this is the last gasp. I think this could be the reality show on Poncho's stuff now. Even Lord Stephen Christ is sitting there half the time. A guy who proclaims himself being Jesus is sitting there. And yous are blaming me for tearing down Flat Earth. No. There's people burned at the stake for declaring the Earth as a ball, as a globe. They're burned at the stake by the Catholic Church. And certain scientists were too scared to say what they thought, because they would be burned at the stake by the church as well. It's all this rubbish that it's like the Jesuits and all that that's doing this. It's been skewed. It's been skewed just like a lot of facts has been skewed within Flat Earth. Halley's Comet, that's one. That's one that even kind of destroys the geocentric model as well, because it comes around every 80 years, is it? 70 odd years, 80 years. Every, like clockwork. I think, who was it that's seen it twice in their lifetime? I forgot his name. But somebody's seen it. Oh, what was his name again? I've got it on the tip of my tongue. Mark. Was it Mark? Oh. Anyway. Halley's Comet, that kind of destroys it. Antonio was on a hangout with Tim Osman. and he's arguing for this selenium lunar eclipse thing, this rare phenomenon that happens every, I don't know if we'll even see it in our lifetimes ever again. And it's just all to do with refraction and the light getting past. It's nothing. And the thing is, right, as much as Antonio can sit there arguing what he thinks it is, he thinks the sun's up at the same time as the moon. If he thinks that, how does that work on a flat Earth then? It's just stupid. It's stupid stuff. So Poncho Chan's had everybody on it. It's just weird. It's weird stuff. And anyone who's left in that chat is suspect. If you're still in that chat, you've barely said a word, because it's you barely have to say anything to get booted at that chat. And he's even made a catchphrase. Bada 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 ding. He's like swinging a bat or something. He's making it a place where you're walking on eggshells all the time. So you'll never hear anyone challenging Pete. So this is not a good platform for Flat Earth guys. As much as you might hate on me and about Poncho, the guy's never had my face off half his memes. And like I said, all I done was I was in Poncho Pete's chat at the same time Tim sniped it, and it was nothing to do with me. And Poncho just felt like blaming me. He says he took my wrench away. I never had a wrench in Free Chan or Poncho Chan. I've never had a wrench. Even when they gave me one, I told them to take it off me because I didn't like having the wrench. I think it's of a cliquey and groupy. So I like not having a wrench. So that's bullshit. So he went on a personal attack on me. When I make a wee video against him, I'm the bad guy. Weird stuff. But if nobody can see this Poncho Chan shit, man, you deserve to be blinded. You deserve to think the Earth's flat. You deserve to think the sun and the moon are discs flying about your head. If you can sit and listen to these people. And even the women that go on, they're hags. Most women in the flat Earth are hags. I seen a video, I didn't watch it though. It was called "No Women on Flat Earth," and I thought, that's right. Because I think it's these lonely cat women sort of type. There's just something that sort of ticks these boxes with these women. And you notice their avatars on their channels, they're always like avatars. They can maybe pass for 30, 20, maybe sometimes. And then you hear the real ages, they're like 52 and stuff. I find it fascinating that 52-year-olds act like this on the internet. And when you see in Dell's video, when he's interviewing people in my city, in Edinburgh, that's why I'm going to give it a review, because how can I not give Dell's video a review? It was in Edinburgh, my home city. I need to have a wee look at it. But what was I talking about? But it's just strange, this whole Poncho thing as well. The Validation Boy, what a turncoat, man. He's just became irrelevant with one swipe. I can lose my subs all I want. I don't care. These are the ones I want to lose. I want to lose subs because I know these are the ones that, what I've done so far, if people can't see past why I'm being so hard. I was walking on eggshells around Flat Earth because I like Lord Gale, I like Validation Boy. But then I go to other channels and they call me a globetard. They call me a retard. It's certain people saying I need lynched, I need bullets in my head, I need this, I need that. And there's only so long I can take this before I fight back. And if I fight back with these kind of videos, even mirroring videos by Cool Hard Logic, I will, because Cool Hard Logic can make a better video, explain it more concise than I can in a short amount of time. So I will mirror his videos because the Holy Flat Earth mirrors everyone's videos. Have you seen the latest Rob Skipa? Have you seen the latest journalism? Have you seen that's what Flat Earth does, is passing on videos. I mirror a couple of videos of mine and I'm plagiarizing. I didn't think so. If you go past through the history of my videos, I've got a lot of good content, a lot of my own stuff. So it's just weird. There was this whole thing with Jebby Jedi as well, this big hype. Oh, Jebby Jedi is going to destroy NASA. Wow, Jebby Jedi. Oh, Dean, Poncho Chan, Jebby Jedi. Did you see the advert? I thought, what's this? Jebby Jedi, what's this? So I went to see the advert. It was just like cutouts of Star Wars. I thought, well, that's not really giving much away. Anyway, I was playing my computer game and I was jumping about Hangouts, and eventually I came across Jibby Jedi and this math. Is it Charles? And he's like Corbyn for the Labour Party. I think he's away now, Corbyn. But it's like in Britain we've got the Labour Party, the Conservatives, and it's like this guy called Corbyn got put as leader of the Labour Party to be weak deliberately, just like a weak opposition. And Charles just seems like somebody who's been put in there as a weak opposition, because they still need the opposition to still be relevant to a point. They don't need my kind of opposition or Tim's kind of opposition. That's not the opposition they like. That's not the opposition they can deal with. But they can deal with flat earth math, Charles. They can deal with him. And they just over talk him, really, at the end of the day. Just call him a NASA lover or stuff like that. And that's where flat earthers went wrong. And this is where I've tried to take a different approach to this, because I'm not going to show evidence for a globe using any NASA or space stuff. I want to use what I can see with my eyes, like the moon and stuff I can see with myself. I want to present that to you guys, and if you like it or not, if it goes against your beliefs, there's nothing I can do. All I can do is present to you what I've found, and I've noticed that way doesn't get listened to. The nice guy comes last. I've lost maybe 20 subscribers the past week just because of certain things I've said. And that just shows you the mentality of people. Like I said, if you get offended even by me being on the screen, just offended by that, you need to go away and have a wee check with yourself, because at the end of the day, you can turn this off. I can't affect your personal life. So, and you hear this a lot I didn't even listen to Globebusters anymore. I feel a bit guilty about that. I didn't even listen to Globebusters. I said, can't be bothered with that Morgile's voice. Sounds like a smackhead or something. And he keeps using the same analogy. If Globers don't like flat earth and watching our videos, don't watch it. Don't watch. I wouldn't go to a baseball game and shout, I hate baseball, if I didn't like baseball. And he uses the same cheesy analogy, and it's like, so why do you keep going on NASA videos? If you didn't like NASA and you didn't like fake space, why do you keep going on NASA videos and criticizing and critiquing? Why? Because you think NASA are wrong, Morgile, Jaron, whoever else that does it. And the reason I do it is because I think you're wrong. So get that into your thick skull. You like to use certain terms, but you never think that it can always be reversed back on you. And even harder, because you're the one that has to prove that or even presents, didn't even prove it. I didn't even want proof for flat earth. Just present some good damn evidence. Better evidence than the globe. If you can present better evidence in the globe, honestly, guys, I'm willing to look at it, and I'm willing to even present it on my channel and make a video saying, look, guys, we've eventually found something. But no, it'll never happen. It will never, ever happen. And I know that now. And it's not just with the evidence that you can look and see all these photographs and videos. It's not even that. It's the people in it. It's the people in it. If you just bunch them up and look around, just look at all those people in the flat earth. And all the top brass leaders, and you can't pick one decent. You need them all. You can't pick one. They're all morally bankrupt, should we say, and they're just lacking integrity, a lot of them. It's weird. So when I look at the whole fieldy people, and I've looked at a lot of people, and I get around. I was even on that young guy, Jamie Brown. I was on his hangout because I know Dell goes to his hangouts. So I went to Jamie's hangout. I seen Dell commenting. So I gave Dell from Beyond the Curve a few comments, and he was trying to tell me about water sticking to the shape to an outside of a ball. And I says to him, well, prove to me it doesn't. You get a mass the size of the earth and stick some water to it. And you prove to me it doesn't stick to a ball. Prove to me it doesn't stick to a ball. Not a football, a sphere the size of the earth. Prove to me water doesn't stick to a sphere. It's the same. Like I said, you can reverse it back on them. Just as much as they can say you can't prove the water sticks to the outside of a ball, you can say, well, you can't prove it doesn't. It's the same thing. And it just seems to be going round in circles now. And it's just everyone's eating each other up. And there's this new weird group, this Hugo group. If you can't see that other side, because you've got the top brass, the Ponchos, all these weirdos, and you've got this other side, and you've got the wee minions in the middle that aren't sure. It's weird. It's weird. It's entertainment. It's entertaining. I've got to say that the best hangout I've heard this week was probably came from Spectacles hangout. It probably came from there. He's had a good hangout or two lately. So I advise you, if you want to go and listen to some good conversation, Cathexis and Tim Osman and people like that are over there. But like them or not, they offer you brain food. They offer you things to talk about. They do. I'm not in this YouTube. I thought I came into this flat earth to sharpen my tools against other people that are trying to sharpen their tools, and together we can sharpen each other's tools that are intelligence, and discover stuff. But I'm looking around now, and it's like around flat earth, there's nobody you can sharpen your tools on. But if you look into these other chats, these are really logically sound people and intelligent as well, and they can articulate their points concisely. Unlike Antonio, who likes to describe something till it's got no more meaning, till you actually zone out and forget what the fuck were you talking about. These people are good at that. They start off with a question and they start rambling to the point where 5 minutes into the ramble, you're like, what am I having for my dinner tonight? What was that, Antonio? What? And they're just good at rambling, like Pete Shea and that James guy on Poncho Chan. They just ramble. It's just, and that can't be thought about. It's just coming out their mouth. They didn't even think what they're saying. It just comes out. It's like my guy used to go to school with. He was just a constant liar, and it's like they don't even know they do it. They're so good at it. It just rumbles out. Just everything that goes into that ear, it just comes out the mouth. It's like food and shit. It doesn't stay in there. It's like, so it's all been a bit weird. And Pat and Bob, completely absent, but not absent for the chat. Pat was mentioned in one of my videos, I'm a disgrace to Scotland. I'm a disgrace to Scotland because I believe in the globe. Because I took the piss out of Pete, who all he's done is dedicated his videos to taking the piss out of me, Tim, and JLB, calling us the Timothy brothers, the sisters, or some shit like that. And Pat comes on my channel to comment, I'm a disgrace to Scotland. Well, I think she's a disgrace to Texas or wherever she comes from. So there's a lot of things been going on now. So I'm going to use it under fair use. You're not going to see anything on the screen. We're just going to listen to Dell and the guys he's speaking to. But I'm glad he came across these people. And this is the thing, guys. This is right. Listen up. This is what made me kind of realize. I put myself in third person. I used to think I was a bit of a smart arse. Even with the guys in my class, I could say stuff to them. I could say, do you think you're on a globe or a flat earth? Just to test them. I wasn't sure myself. I just wanted to see what their opinion would be. And they would say, like, no, of course it's a globe. Because photos from space. We've seen photos from space. And I'd say, do you know they're not photos? Aye, they're photos. They're no real photos. Aye, they're real photos. I'll say, no, they're composites. They'll go, composites. And I'll say, aye, composites. NASA will tell you. Go to their website. They'll tell you they're composites. So it's like you can use all these things against it. And I was the average Joe on the street, and I was thinking to myself, right? I was sitting looking at it, and I was thinking, how many people walking down the street could you pull up and they would actually know about the Coriolis effect? How many people, truthfully, your average Joe person walking down the street, I would say out of maybe 50 people that walk by my window, maybe one would know what it is. Because I'm not saying they're stupid. I'm not saying all these people are stupid. It's just one of these things that people they're not interested in, so they don't study into it. They don't really know about it. So for me to go outside, ask them about the shape of the earth, and then hit them with things like the Coriolis effect, and for them to be like, I think that's putting people on the spot, and make it. That's no a proper debate when you do that, because they're unprepared. Well, you're going in with all your facts, and then when you leave, even though you're probably pushing a false premise, you leave with your head held high because they walked away puzzled and thinking they don't even know about their own world, like how fast it spins or the circumference of the earth and things like that. If you ask the normal person out in the street these things, they wouldn't know. So I wouldn't go out in the street and ask them these things, because I know the answer I would get. You better ask them what they know about the globe. Really. And this is where Flat Earth has been good to me, guys. I've got to admit, now I'm prepared. Like, I know about my spherical world better. I just do. And I've done it with my own eyes. And it's good. It's good that Flat Earth done that to me. So now, when someone who believes in Flat Earth comes up to me and tries to hit me with all these things, I can answer that and tenfold back. And that's empowering, especially when all the evidence supports your belief. But the thing is, they could both be beliefs, but the globe Earth has got all the evidence on its side, where the Flat Earth has nothing. It's nothing. It's nothing at all. So I'm going to watch a wee bit of Dell's video. I'm going to look at a couple of web pages about like Galileo, guys like Galileo, because I think there's this false thing getting pushed that they were these Jesuits trying to convince the world it was a globe and it was a big conspiracy. Now these guys were putting their lives at risk, saying that we live in a heliocentric model. They were scared to even say it, and they were putting it. That's why certain ones said it on the deathbed, because they knew they were going to die anyway. So they came out with it. And it was a church that was killing people for it, the Catholic Church, burning books, killing scientists for going against the Bible's, what the Bible says and what the church believed in. And I think it's happening again on a cyber level. There seems to be a book burning, a intellectual burning, and it's like a cyber level. It's not like the old medieval times, 500 years ago. It's like there's a book burning on a cyber level and a brain wiping. And I think I looked into it and I could see there's a lot of New Age, and there's New Age NGO groups working for the United Nations, like Gaia, and they're supported by like the UN supported by the Catholic, the Pope. All these things are kind of connected. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a big. Everyone says the Jews, but how do you know? How do you know that this Catholic influence? I'm not saying it's all Catholics, because I've went to the Catholic Church. I've even made a video. Lovely people. They don't know maybe what's going on at the deepest levels. You're trying to control the world again, because the Catholic Church got kicked out of Scotland 500 years ago because of the stagnation of sciences. And soon as the Catholic Church got kicked out, that's when everything boomed. That's when the sciences, medical, everything boomed, because people were free. people are free to explore the sciences, to do their own observations. And it's not the governments have been holding this back. All people have been observing, independent, everyone's been observing the stars. No one's been holding us back for looking at the moon and stuff like that for hundreds of years. So that's just total rubbish. And I noticed in the interviews that a lot of people would say, why would they lie? Why would they lie? And the flat earther would turn around and say, it's because they want to make you feel trapped. They want to make you feel insignificant by saying you're just a space monkey blown up on a big bang, flying, hurtling through space. And they want to make you feel insignificant, like you're nothing. But flat earth want to keep you in this system where you've got some believe there's a dome or some kind of ceiling over our heads where everything's projected and turning, even though stars in the northern hemisphere go anti-clockwise and stars in the southern hemisphere go clockwise. Flat earth when you believe that all the stars are kind of swirling around. It's just, I don't know, guys. I don't know anymore, but it's still interesting. I still can't get enough of it, and it's getting to the point where it's like an addiction. I think it's an unhealthy addiction, this flat earth shite. And I've got college, my new semester started, I've got things to do for college, I have. And I find myself when I get on my computer and I'm going to research something from a college, like something to do with graphic novels or something like that, I feel myself, I'll go and check YouTube and I see a video, and by the time I know it, I'm tired, and this research is getting put to the back burner, and it's really having an effect on my life, guys. It is. And all my videos, all my time, what I'm telling you right now, I'm doing it for nothing. I didn't put ads on my videos, and this is all my own free time. I sacrifice my time with my kids, time with doing stuff. And it's no for ego, even though I do feel everyone needs a bit of ego to sit in front of the screen and speak. You need to have some kind of ego. Ego's who you are. Ego's who your character is. Don't get above it. But ego's not a bad thing. So it's just, and it's addictive, guys. And I've had a lot of heat, and I've had a lot of sort of backlash, and I've seen a lot of people talking about me, give me all that, and it's just pathetic. It's pathetic. Laurie Gale commented on one of my videos saying that she gave me the best hangouts I've ever had. Well, you guys can be the judge of that. But I deleted them because I didn't think they were up to scratch. Anyway, I'm going to look through these videos. Dale in Edinburgh, eh? Dale in Edinburgh. But I didn't see him, man. That would have been a good video for me. I would have got my camera out. Right, so the whole video, I've got to say, Dale done an alright job, I've got to say. He got a couple of good camera angles. It was a pity about the guy breathing on the camera, I've got to say. Dale, next time, tell the guy to hold his breath for 50 minutes or something. Because the heavy breathing in the video was a bit annoying. And he's spelling at the end, Hanks, Dale. Hanks. Yeah, I think he thought he pressed the T and missed it. Well, I've got to say, I'm quite proud of certain people here from my city, because if I was walking past and I didn't know anything about the flat Earth, that's what I'm saying. These word salads that they hit you with puzzle you, and people don't like confrontation. People just go quiet and go in their shell because they don't want to say the next thing to be wrong. But I've got to admit, these guys, considering. The big guy on the right, he held his own, and if he just needed to go away and come back, do a wee bit of research, get some of his own stuff, and come back and hit Dale with it. But anyway, guys, we'll have a wee look. Like I said, actually, what we'll do is we'll just anyway. That's the video there, guys. I'm not gonna show the video part because it might try and hit me with a copyright strike. So we'll listen to it on my mic.
Why should I believe that? I would suggest that I would stop anybody from adopting any beliefs, because for me a belief is a substitute for knowing. So right away I would encourage people not to believe anything, to trust your own senses and to trust real natural science, which is observable, testable, repeatable. That's how we operate, that's how we construct. We have technology. There is an objective reality that's really there, that we can measure, test, and depend on. So what I would say is, don't believe in any institution who's telling you should believe. For me, there's an issue with that. The fact of the matter is that for over 2 years now, myself, we've got a guy, Gavin, who's involved. He's an honours degree from Glasgow University in mathematics and physics. He understands that what he's been told is a lie. I have so many other friends now, because they based a lot of this stuff with false axioms. They started from a false premise, and then they create a mathematical construct based on a false premise. But the false premise in this case is that the Earth is a sphere.
Yeah, but that's what you guys say.
Yeah. Well, again, I went and I searched extensively, and I looked for proof, and I have found zero proof that the Earth is a globe. There is no measurable curvature. All things in nature, everything in natural science tells me beyond any shadow of a doubt that it cannot be a sphere I'm living on. The mountain of proof that it's flat and stationary is like that. Zero proof for a globe, loads of proof to say that it's flat and stationary.
Right, you said zero proof for a globe, loads of proof for flat and stationary. Well, I'd like to see all this proof, because there's plenty evidence for a globe, and it all works on a heliocentric model, and there's hardly any evidence apart from what you can see, which is limited, for flat Earth. So that's false.
I'm not a religious guy. I'm a science guy. I had to go through problem resistance. I believe that
If it's flat, how can I travel from Japan to around and back to Tokyo without traveling like this, or how? If it's flat, then
right here I'm in Japan.
Yeah.
Where do you want to go?
Back to Japan.
This is Dale walking around in a circle.
Yeah, but that tells me that it's in the circle. Is this the North Pole, or it's there's North Pole, there's South Pole.
North Pole, South Pole.
Yeah. Then there's have to be on top of each other, because there's two poles, and then you have to go walk around like this, not around this, because what's in the middle then?
See, this guy, quite clued up actually, considering he's just been put on the spot about flat Earth and the heliocentric model. He's managing to visualise what Dale's talking about and still debunking it on the spot. He's actually debunking it there and then.
Yeah. Then you have to decide if there's a North Pole or a South Pole.
Well, this is going by their teachings. We have a compass which is flat, and you hold it flat. Right?
Yeah, but still, so you deny that Roald Amundsen went to the North and South Pole?
The north to south circumnavigation has never been done. Never been done.
That was possible, but still, it was not in the way. Then you don't believe the equator either.
Yeah, there is an equator.
Where's that then?
Well, the equator is where it is.
The equator is where it is. And the guy at the end there just busts out laughing. It's like, the guy says, "Where's the equator?" And Dale says, "The equator is where it is." Like, he's standing on the ground on an imaginary circle.
Unless he's around the equator.
But how can you be flat? And is this the equator? But then it doesn't make sense.
Well,
It doesn't make sense that
we
the
could take
equator.
a square or we could take a circle.
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense that equator is in Ecuador and in Indonesia, for example. It doesn't make sense if you follow that logic, because if it goes like this, where is everything? Where it's like what's at the end?
That's at the end. This is what we don't know. This is what we're trying to bring people's awareness to.
See, this is what we don't know. The flat earthers, that's what they don't know, but a guy in the streets telling them, like, well, where's the South Pole? Where's the North Pole? Where's the edge? What are you talking about? And Dell's like, well, we don't know.
What are you using this?
No one's ever been to the end.
Well, this is the thing. Part of the psychological tricks that the governments have used is to put images of a flat earth into people's mind that it's a flat disc and that you can fall off the edge.
Well, just like they claim that governments put into the mindset that we fall off the edge, flat earthers like to put stuff into the mindset of people as well. Like the fact that we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. Why does the water not just fly off? If we're spinning 1,000 miles an hour, 60 million miles an hour through space, and why doesn't everything just fly away? And they use terms like that, like the Earth spinning 1,000 miles an hour. We should feel something. We should feel some speed. But they use a language where it sounds exaggerated. In reality, the world turns once. It revolves once every 24 hours. Once every 24 hours. That's pretty slow. If you revolve anything once in 24 hours, that's pretty slow. But they use terms like thousands of miles an hour.
It wasn't governments that found that it was a circle. It was Copernicus.
Copernicus was a Jesuit priest.
Yeah, but he on his deathbed he told that like they thought that the Earth was in the middle of the universe.
Yeah.
And he told on his deathbed that it wasn't. Yeah. And then you have Galileo Galilei and all those guys. They were not governments telling them to say this.
The Jesuit priests.
Bruno was sent into prison. He was executed because of his.
See, he made the guy made a good point there. Like to be a Jesuit priest, to be a priest, you were educated. The common man didn't know anything about the stars or anything like that. So most people that were studying the stars and stuff like that were the priests, because they had all the time. They were sitting around. Where the common man was working hard in the fields or in the blacksmiths or in the whatever it was they were doing. They never had the time to look up at the stars where the priests did.
Believes that there was a higher, that there was a universe, not that the Catholic Church was law. He was executed. Why would he do that if he was a Jesuit priest?
And that's another brilliant point the guy makes. Why would you even claim the heliocentric model if you know the Catholic Church is probably going to burn you alive? Why would these people, these brave men, come out with things like the world's a globe and we could be spinning around the sun instead of being the centre? By making those claims, these men were putting their lives in danger. And a lot of them paid for it. A lot of people paid for claiming these facts. And we're going back to these days. If we just forget about all these people that died, these brave men that spent time finding out stuff so we don't have to. And they paid for it. A lot of them paid with their lives. You need to remember this as well, guys. You can't keep eating up the flat earth fucking conspiracy stuff all the time.
It doesn't make sense because
Copernicus was a Jesuit priest.
yeah, of course they were. But all people that were you had to be a priest to go to school to learn things.
Because they controlled everything.
Yeah, but why would he? Because he said we shouldn't believe anything. He didn't believe it. He took these things that church told him, and then he denounced them. Yeah. Why would that guy?
So the church was telling him the earth was flat, and he denounced it. He said, no, the earth's no flat. So he was taught this by the church, and he went against the church.
It's not so much that these people would lie deliberately. It might be that they were misguided, that they were mistaken. There's so many. 400 years would be executed.
Who would you believe? One guy or a whole institution, a religious institution that's trying to control the whole world? It seems to me, guys, that this is a lot more important than we think. And this is why a lot of people will reject the flat earth outright, because a lot of people died trying to prove the heliocentric model.
For what they believe, what they say.
Yeah, well, I can only go by, official sources that tell me that's what happened, and that these people were actually real people. I tend not to go into that kind of side of it because, I'm not there. I don't know who these people were. But what I do know is that the religious institutions controlled society, and they still do. They infiltrated science.
That's what he's trying to tell you. They infiltrated science, and these guys went against them. Galileo, Copernicus, Bruno, they all went against the church.
Created things like NASA. Used Nazi scientists who they brought out from Germany through a thing called Project Paperclip.
Yeah, because they needed the rockets. Because they had first jet-propelled rockets. They needed that rocket to go to the moon. So why? So you think they didn't?
Whether they went to the moon or no, that's not the point. The fact that the Americans took over the German scientists, because the German scientists were the first to invent the jet-propelled rockets. The question isn't whether they went to the moon or not. It's why they took the Nazi guys over to America, and it's because they were smart, really smart, especially in their own fields.
You knew the Earth was round before Nazi symbolism came in, before Nazi scientists. 1800s, 1750, they knew. Like when that guy that found like shadow stars, or what we call dark stars, like the Haley guy. Haley, that yeah, he knew that the Earth was round. In his verse, he says like you can see things that are round at the sky because they are a circle.
Can I stop you right? Yeah, can I stop you? Because I'm not interested in guys that lived 200 years ago. I can only go by now. Now, that's a red herring. You know what a logical fallacy is? Right? So, if I see circles in the sky, that's no scientific proof that I live on a circle. Right? That's like saying the pool balls are round, therefore the pool table's round. Do you understand?
Yeah, I understand what you mean.
It's a logical fallacy. So I look for real proofs, testable, repeatable, measurable proof.
But they measure it with mathematics.
But mathematics is a form of science. You can start from a false axiom.
Everything is built around mathematics.
No, it's not.
You like the smallest atoms is mathematics.
Yeah.
Like quantic,
if you
quantum mechanics, everything is built around mathematics. Mathematics is the universal language.
Yeah, but this is the thing. Mathematics is reality was here before mathematics. Okay, so men created a language to describe reality, and they called it mathematics. Mathematics, you can start from a false axiom and build a construct based on the false axiom. Where mathematics is found.
That's what Flat Earthers has done. That's exactly what they've done. And these are the priests. These are like the Catholic priests from medieval times preaching the earth flat again.
Lacking is when you take it and you try and apply it to actual real life observations. Now, if you don't have the real life observation, your mathematics is wrong. So, they'll tell you in mathematics that water can conform to spheres, you can have negative and positive pressure systems existing side by side in mathematics. So, what I'm saying to people is, can you give me a practical example for the mathematics? If you don't have the practical example, there's something wrong with your mathematics. Just like if I don't have the pink unicorn to show you, is it reality?
Yeah, but you can't prove a pink unicorn. You can prove that there is something else in the
So
universe.
prove to me how a body of water conforms to the exterior of a sphere.
I'm not a scientist. I don't know.
We're all scientists. Natural scientists have got your common sense and your own.
I'll say this again. He keeps saying, prove to me that water conforms to a shape. A ball. Well, I say, prove to me it doesn't. If he can get a piece of mass the same size as the Earth and make water not stick to it, well, he'll prove his point. You just turn it around on them.
Observations.
Natural science, but like, if you believe that mathematics is the universal language of everything that exists, then with my level of mathematics, I can prove anything because I haven't read enough to know this mathematics.
But you still believe what they tell you?
I believe what they tell you because people that are like Isaac Newton, who is maybe probably one of the greatest geniuses that ever lived, tell me that. Like he and others that have proven his works tell me that. Like Einstein, I don't say I'm smarter than Einstein.
No, but this is what I'm saying. You're saying that they've proved it. What I'm asking you is, where is it?
And this is a problem with flat earthers as well. That you heard earlier that Dale said, natural science, we're all scientists. We're all scientists. And this boy here saying, I'm no claiming to be smarter than these people before me. Like he appreciates the fact that he's not as smart as these geniuses before him, and he'll look at the geniuses' work, even if it was 100 years ago, and take it at face value because he's not as smart as these guys. That doesn't mean it's true, but everything seems to work. It's just, they make everything back to front. They make all these people enemies. They make Galileo, Copernicus, all these people, they're the enemies.
No, but
really,
okay,
when really these guys were the heroes. These guys were actually the heroes.
I can like put my hand on the moon and say this.
But can you show me how water conforms to a sphere?
No.
Well, why do we believe it?
Because of gravity.
Give me a practical example of gravity.
Practical example of gravity, like Earth goes around.
I can explain that with density and buoyancy.
Why do the moon travel around the Earth?
We'll go to that in a wee minute. Let's just stick to gravity.
No.
What
are you using the
film for?
See, when he was asked why does the moon go around the Earth, he asked for an example of gravity, and the boy says to him, well, how does the moon go around the Earth? And Dale's like, no, and they're like, try to skip that one.
What are you using the film for, actually?
It's just for YouTube.
Who are you guys?
This is for my YouTube channel.
Yeah, and it is about that we should believe that.
No, what we're trying to get is real people's reaction to these questions, and that's what you're given. You know, you're given a real reaction. It's not to convince you.
Then you're not like editing this video, so it looks like I'm agreeing to this.
We'll show the whole thing, you know, as it is. We're not here to make anybody look silly. But you know, I'm not here to try and slant anything. I'm interested in reality and real truth. That's all I'm interested in. So no, don't worry about that. You know, it's nothing sinister. Beyond the imaginary curve, because there's zero curvature anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, guys. Edinburgh. If you want to check it out, it's on Beyond the Imaginary Curves channel. I'll even give you a wee shout out, Del. And like I said, I watched it and I didn't think any of the people that Del spoke to walked away convinced of anything, really. They say they planted the seed. They didn't. These people go away, they'll maybe have a laugh about that night whilst they're having something to eat and then get on with their lives again the next day and forget all about Del. I feel like making a counter video because I know this area and I think I can bump into the same people. If it's a university, I can maybe come across the same people and ask them questions in a different way. But like I said, guys, when you're put on the spot And I was there. I was like the average Joe as well. If I got put on the spot and got asked about how fast the Earth spins at the equator or at the northern hemisphere or southern, it's the stars, the eclipses, the lunar eclipse. I was the average Joe on the street as well. I would have been taken aback. But I think that's taken a liberty by the flat earthers by doing that to people, by putting them on the spot like that, when they haven't done the research into such a complex subject. A subject where great men have died trying to tell the world about it, but the Catholic Church wasn't having any of it. And I think there's been a kind of rise in that. Like I said, there's been a sort of internet rise in this kind of thinking. It's coming back, no doubt. And it's in the new age, and it's lurking about these chat rooms, and I can see it. I can see it. Everyone keeps saying Jews, but I can see something else here. And it goes deeper than the whole Jew crap. God, if you still believe in all that Jew shit, and in one breath they say the Jews control the banks, and in another breath they're saying they're taking Nazis over to work with them. So are the Jews and the Nazis all having a party in America, building rockets and creating banks and money? Now, you've got to think about these things. Anyway, I'm going to look over a couple of articles just to show you who we're talking about and how certain people in history got persecuted for the beliefs, especially in the heliocentric model. Right. Have a wee look at chat, see who's all in. Hope you're having a good beginning of your week. So we have, who's in the house? We have Tim Osman in the house. The tomfoolery of the International Space Station is in the house. J39. See these names? These are the names I want to see that. I don't care if I lose 20 subs. If I open a hangout and these names are still there, I don't care. Those 20 subs never mattered anyway. Turquoise Dragon, Wake the Sheeple, Charlotte 1966, 234 Cheech, Negator, XX, Gay Stuart Deet. I don't know who he is. Void Mirror, John LeBon is in the house. How you doing, man? Jungle Surfer is not PK. That's true. That's true. Jungle Surfers looks nothing like PK. I've seen Jungle Surfer and I've seen PK, and there looks like there's at least a 10, 15 years age difference at least. Channel Q's now here. Smurfs are sexual. Jed, play some Skyrim sometime. I've got Skyrim there actually. I might put on sometime. I noticed when I started this hangout, there's a wee window opened up saying that these hangouts are going to stop by April the 25th. So I don't know what the setup's going to be with these hangouts nowadays, guys. How we'll be able to just, I don't think we'll be able to just start one like we do through Google and YouTube. So I was trying to think of another way we could do it. And like I said, we could have a gaming one because the chat's still there. And that's nothing to do with Google. Is it the YouTube that's stopping it, or I don't know if it's YouTube or Google, I don't know. But I was just looking at different formats. There was another thing that Dale mentioned, and it was something I thought about, but I wasn't going to accuse him of it until I heard it coming out of his mouth. And it was that he was an anarchist. There was a guy in that's a 50-minute video that we only listened to the last 5 minutes, 10 minutes, something like that. But that was a 50-minute video, and Dale admits being an anarchist also in that video. And I noticed this anarchist presence. I know Martin Leakey likes to think he's a bit an anarchist, and Dan Pratt, and there's a few anarchists within the Flat Earth as well. And they're a movement on their own. Same with the free man, this whole free man movement that Poncho's into. That's like a brotherhood on its own. Anyway, I hope you're all doing great. I will screen share my article. I'm going to get a drink. So I'll be back in 5 minutes, guys. But this last part will only take me 20 minutes, something like that. Right, we'll be back in a second. World Socialist website. I'm not a socialist, but this is what this website's called. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm back with a brew. Like I said, the people out there that flat earthers are claiming to be Jesuit priests that are preaching this and that and the next thing. Actually, these guys were going against the church. They were going against the Pope. And one guy here is called a man of insight and courage. Giordano Bruno, philosopher and scientist, burnt at the stake 400 years ago. This was an article by Frank Gagliotti, 16th of February 2000. So well before the whole flat earth scene really kicked off. It's not like an article that's been designed just for flat earthers to confuse them. Right. Shit. Spilled my coffee. Right. 4 centuries ago today, on February the 16th, 1600, the Roman Catholic Church executed Giordano Bruno, Italian philosopher and scientist, for the crime of heresy. He was taken from his cell in the early hours of the morning to Piazza dei Fiori in Rome and burnt alive at the stake. To the last, the church authorities were fearful of the ideas of a man who was known throughout Europe as the bold and brilliant thinker. In peculiar twist to the gruesome affair, the executioners were ordered to tie his tongue so that he would be unable to address those gathered. Throughout his life, Bruno championed the Copernican system of astronomy, which placed the sun not the Earth at the centre of the solar system. He opposed the stultifying authority of the Church and refused to recant his philosophical beliefs throughout his 8 years of imprisonment by the Venetian and Roman Inquisitions. His life stands as a testimony to the drive of knowledge and truth that marked the astonishing period of history known as the Renaissance, from which so much in modern art, thought and science derives. In Scotland, we had our own Renaissance. Scottish art, thinking, a lot of things in this modern world can thank Scotland for because of the Renaissance. In 1992, after 12 years of deliberations, the Roman Catholic Church grudgingly admitted that Galileo Galilei had been right in supporting the theories of Copernicus. The Holy Inquisition had forced an aged Galileo to recant his ideas under threat of torture in 1633, but no such admission has been made in the case of Bruno. His writings are still on the Vatican's list of forbidden texts. See, his writings are still on the Vatican's list of forbidden texts. They're still there. So there's still probably a good amount of people that support the Catholic Church and the Pope that still hate Galileo, that hate these people in history, these guys that went against the Church. And probably modern Catholics nowadays probably hate these people. They're probably written in history as pieces of garbage to the Catholic Church. So that's probably where a lot of hate for these peoples are coming from within the flat earth. The Church is currently considering a new batch of apologies. A theological commission headed by Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger, the head of the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith. Ratzinger, was he no... He turned out to be one of the popes, did he know, Ratzinger? He turned out to be the next pope after that, because that was 2000, Ratface. Right. The head of the Congregation of the Doctrine of the Faith, the modern successor of the Inquisition, had completed an inquiry entitled The Church and the Faults of the Past, Memory in the Service of Reconciliation, which proposed making an apology for past errors. The results have been handed to Pope John Paul II, who is due to make a statement on March the 12th. The execution of Bruno is one of the Church's crimes being considered, but it is unlikely that the major concessions will be made in his case. A number of hardline Catholic figures have opposed the investigation from the outset, saying that excessive penitence and self-questioning could undermine the faith in the Church and its institutions. So, even back 17 years ago, back in 2000, there were still people against the idea of Bruno, of the Church apologising to Bruno. The current attitude of the Roman Catholic Church to Bruno is defined by a 2-page entry in the latest edition of the Catholic Encyclopedia. It describes Bruno's intolerance and berates him, declaring his attitude of mind towards religious truth was that of a rationalist. The article describes in detail Bruno's theological errors and his lengthy detention at the hands of the Inquisition, but fails to mention the best-known fact that the Church authorities burnt him alive at the stake. Bruno has long been revered as a martyr to scientific truth. In 1889, a monument to him was erected at the location of his execution. Such was the feeling for Bruno that scientists and poets paid tribute to him, and a book was written detailing his life's work. In a dedication for a meeting held at the Contemporary Club in Philadelphia in 1890, American poet Walt Whitman wrote, "As America's mental courage, the thought comes to me today, is so indebted above all current lands and peoples to the noble army of old world martyrs past, how incumbent on us that we clear those martyrs' lives and names and hold them up for reverent admiration as well as beacons." And this is why, guys, that's important that people who are fighting this flat earth sophism don't give up. Don't give up, guys. When you feel beaten down, when your comments are, your thumbs down are more than your likes, your comments are overwhelming with like ad hominem attacks, but nothing to go against what you've presented as evidence, you know you're doing something right. And don't think it's for nothing. Maybe we won't get executed like the past heroes, but We can fight for their name. We can't let these people be forgotten like this. And anyway, it's only flat earthers that think these things anyway, but it's more lies. I've got a funny feeling that when the Renaissance happened and everybody went against the Catholic Church, I think that's when Freemasonry emerged, to be honest. And we don't know if these guys are good or bad. Come on. I've been accused of being a Freemason many times. And to me, it's a compliment. If you're getting accused of Freemason, I don't think Freemasons accept idiots into their leagues. So I see it as a compliment, but I've got a funny feeling that Freemasonry kind of maybe was like a reaction to this Renaissance, where men got together to think, and it's still going on today. They maybe still believe certain aspects of the church or the Bible and stuff like that, but I think there could be a war between Protestant Freemasons and like the Catholic Church. There could be this underground battle. And obviously there's Jews mixed in the works as well, but they're all battling each other for power. Whether it's for good or bad, whether the Freemasons or they're working together to control everybody, who knows? They might have came to some agreement along the way. But I think Freemasonry could have been could have came out of the fact that people started rejecting the Catholic Church. Anyway, Karl Marx, his co-thinker Friedrich Engels, summed up the period that produced figures such as Bruno, who challenged the church and laid the basis for modern science. In an introduction written in the 1870s to his unfinished work, The Dialectics of Nature, Engels wrote, "It was the greatest progressive revolution that mankind had so far expressed, a time which called for giants and produced giants, giants in power of thought, passion and character, and universality and learning. The men who founded the modern rule of the Bourgeois had anything but bourgeois limitations. On the contrary, the adventurous character of the time inspired them to a greater or lesser degree. There was hardly a man of importance then living who had not travelled extensively, who did not speak 4 or 5 languages, who did not shine in a number of fields." So these were great people. You're lucky if people can speak their first language nowadays, never mind 5 or 4 languages. They were great men. And for us to keep going on about this flat earth crap is a dishonour to these people. At the time, the natural science also developed in the midst of the general revolution, and way itself thoroughly revolutionary. It had indeed to win and struggle its right of existence. Side by side with the great Italians from whom modern philosophy dates, it provided its martyrs for the stake in the dungeons of Inquisition, and its characteristics that Protestant outdid Catholics in persecuting the free investigation of nature. Calvin and Servetus burnt at the stake when the latter was on the point of discovering the circulation of blood. And indeed, he kept him roasting alive during 2 hours for the Inquisition. At least it sufficed to have Gordiano Bruno simply burnt alive. What is most characteristic of Bruno is his vigorous appeal to reason and logic, rather than religious dogma as the basis for determining truth. That's like flat earth. It's just religious dogma. In a manner that anticipates the Enlightenment, thinkers of the 18th century wrote in one of the final works, De Triplice Minimo, 1591, "He who desires to philosophize must first of all doubt all things. He must not assume a position in a debate before he has listened to the various opinions and considered and compared the reasons for and against. He must never judge or take up a position on the evidence of what he has heard, on the opinion of the majority, the age, merits, or prestige of the speaker concerned, but he must proceed according to the persuasion of an organic doctrine which adheres to real things and to a truth that can be understood by the light of reason." Wow, it's a big article. But I'll read some more. A complex intellectual figure. An examination of Bruno's philosophical legacy reveals a complex figure who was influenced by the various intellectual trends at the time, in a period where modern science was just beginning to emerge. His enthusiastic polemics earned the admiration of most advanced thinkers of the period and the loathing of the Church, whose authority was being shaken to the core by learned assaults such as these. Bruno was born in the new town of Nola near Naples in 1548 at the dawn of the revolution in astronomy, which heralded by the publication of Copernicus's De Revolutionibus Orbis Coelestium Libre in 1543. Copernicus asserted that the sun, not the earth, was the centre of a finite universe, with the planets on circular orbs around it and the stars on a fixed sphere a considerable distance beyond. The Copernican system not only challenged the Church's cosmological views, but also the rigid social hierarchy of feudalism. The previous neatly ordered view of the universe, with the Earth at the centre, reinforced the rigid feudal order with the serfs at the bottom and the Pope at the pinnacle. The dangerous implication of the Copernican theory was that if the Church's credo of infallibility could be challenged in the cosmological arena, then its social position was also cast into doubt. So, today, when we think about it, if we can reject real science and replace it with dogma, in a way, we could start letting in these kind of establishments again to control us. And that's what they're maybe trying to do with this whole flat earth. Not just flat earth, the whole disinfo everywhere, in the media, in the news, everywhere. The church was already under siege from all sides. In 1517, Martin Luther nailed his 95 theses to the church door in Germany, denouncing the practices of the Roman Catholic Church. The first blow in the Protestant Reformation that swept across Europe, the Vatican responded with a counterattack, the Counter-Reformation, on anyone who appeared to challenge the Catholic doctrine. In 1542, it established the Roman Inquisition to enforce its edicts with torture and execution. Thus, Bruno entered a world in ferment. In 1563, Bruno entered the monastery of Saint Dominique, where he came to the notice of church authorities for his unorthodox religious views. He used his time as a novelty to acquaint himself not only with the philosophical works of the ancient Greeks, but also his more contemporary European thinkers. It was at this time that he encountered the works of Copernicus, which was to have such a profound impact on his life. Bruno took holy orders in 1572, but then left the order in 1576 after travelling to Rome. He had been caught reading philosophical texts annotated by the Dutch humanist philosopher Erasmus and escaped before being denounced to ecclesiastical authorities. He spent the rest of his life until his capture wandering Europe, discussing and promoting his philosophical ideas. After 3 years in Italy, he went to Geneva, which was then dominated by the Protestant sect led by Calvin. He soon came into conflict with academic authorities when he published a pamphlet stating that a local professor of philosophy had made 20 errors in one lecture. He was imprisoned by the Calvinist authorities and only released after withdrawing the offending publication. 26 years later, the Calvinists had burnt Servetus, a Spanish doctor, geographer, and a man of letters at the stake for his scientific views. So I suppose they were both at it, both sides. The Catholics and the Protestants burning everybody for any opposing views. And the Spanish doctor, geographer, he obviously, it wasn't about the heliocentric model, but he must have had views on other stuff. Bruno then travelled to Toulouse in France, where he lectured on Aristotle's De Anima and wrote a book of mnemonics, systems of memory training. He arrived in Paris by 1581, where he came to the attention of King Henry III, who was attracted by his reputation of having a prodigious memory. The king found a position for him at the Collège de France after he had been forbidden entry to the Sorbonne by the ecclesiastical authority. During his stay in Paris, he wrote 3 books, 2 on mnemonics and a play entitled The Torchbearer by Bruno de Nolan, graduate of No Academy, called The Nuisance. In this play, Bruno described his time in the Dominican convent in Naples and presented a withering indictment of the church. Giovanni Gentile's commentary on the play describes Bruno's characterization of the church as follows: "You will see, in mixed confusion, snatches of cut purses, wiles of cheats, enterprise of rogues, also delicious repulsiveness, bitter-sweet, foolish decisions, mistaken faith and crippled hopes, niggard charities, judges noble and serious for other men's affair with little truth in their own, virile women, effeminate men, and voices of craft and not of mercy, so that he who believes most is most fooled, and everywhere the love of gold." Bruno was forced to leave France in 1583 and travelled to England, where his 3-year stay proved to be one of the most fruitful periods of his life. He was introduced into a society that craved all forms of Italian learning and already had a considerable Italian and foreign exile community. That's probably some kind of Freemason group. Many had fled to avoid persecution for orthodox philosophical and religious ideas. Bruno held discussions with Queen Elizabeth I, who was attracted by the prospect of discussing philosophical matters directly in Italian. He quickly attracted a number of intellectuals who eagerly discussed the philosophical ideas of the time. In England, Bruno published 6 books, all in Italian, fully elaborating his philosophical ideas for the first time. He was one of the first philosophers to discuss scientific issues in vernacular. The very act of publishing in Italian was an open challenge to the Church, which sought to maintain Latin as the language of intellectual discourse, and so limit the wider dissemination of ideas. Copernicus's groundbreaking work had been published only in Latin, so afraid were Bruno's printers that not one of them identified himself in the printed text. So that's another thing where you hear a lot of this in Flat Earth, that our language is this and our language is that, and we're not given... No, they want us to start speaking bloody Latin again. They want us to speak Latin, I think. Anyway, guys, I'm not going to read it all because it'll just take too long. I'm getting tired. It's coming up for 2 a.m. But it's an interesting article. Like I say, guys, it's called the World Socialist website. I'm not a socialist. I just found this was just a good article. You can find your own articles about Bruno. Do your own research. Make your own conclusions. I'm just showing you a quick. And I think a lot of these guys shouldn't be forgotten. Here was another one that I found. During most of the 16th, it's called Copernicus, Galileo and the Church, Science and the Religious World. During most of the 16th and 17th centuries, fear of heretics spreading teachings and opinions that contradicted the Bible dominated the Catholic Church. And you get this a lot today in the Flat Earth. But the Bible said so. But the Bible said so. Have you not noticed that, people? But the Bible said so. The persecuted scientists who formed theories the church deemed heretical and forbade people from reading any books on those subjects by placing the books on the index of prohibited books. A type of war between science and religion was in play, but there would be more casualties on the side of science. Nicholas Copernicus and Galileo Galilei were 2 scientists who printed books that later became banned. Copernicus faced no persecution when he was alive because he died shortly after publishing his book. Galileo, on the other hand, was tried by the Inquisition after his book was published. Both scientists held the same theory in that the Earth revolved around the Sun, a theory now known to be true. However, the Church disapproved of this theory because the Holy Scriptures state that the Earth is at the centre, not the Sun. As the contents of the Bible were taken literally, the publishing of these books proved to the Church that Copernicus and Galileo were sinners. They preached through their writings that the Bible was wrong. I'll read this one because it's not too long, actually. Copernicus published his book On the Revolutions of the Heavenly Bodies, thereafter referred to simply as Revolutions, in 1543, shortly before his death. In Revolutions, Copernicus states that the Sun is at the centre and the Earth revolves around it while rotating on its axis daily. Like all scholarly authors, Copernicus wrote in Latin, which only educated people could read, effectively minimising the number of readers to a select few. The phrase Copernicus utilised was that if the Earth was in motion, then the observed phenomenon would result. This phrasing is extremely important as it means that Copernicus himself would deny he believed it. He merely fashioned it in such a way that it was a hypothesis that would allow astronomers to correct mathematical errors they came across while observing the heavens. By writing in this fashion, Copernicus would have been able to deny that he himself believed in heliocentrism because he phrased it as nothing more than a hypothesis, and as a result, we were able to slip past the church dislike of heliocentrism. And this is what you get, well, look, flat earth sympathizers. They know how to word it. And it's the same, you need to be, if you want to communicate to people and you don't want to scare them away right away, you can't use certain words. So things like proof is hard for both sides, globe and flat earth. But evidence is a much better word because you can gather so much evidence to create a hypothesis. And when you look at flat earth and you look at globe, well, to me, there's more evidence on the globe side. Much more evidence, in fact. Copernicus' theory are not fully formed, meaning there are several flaws that make the heliocentric hypothesis appear weak and ill-contrived. According to Giovanni Tolsani in 1546, a member of the Dominican order, almost all the hypotheses of this author, Copernicus, contain something false, and he seems unfamiliar with Holy Scripture since he contradicts some of its principles. Revolution was not placed on the index of prohibited books until 1616, 73 years after it was published. A censored version with some sections changed or omitted was released 4 years after it was prohibited. It is possible that Revolution was not banned immediately because of its hypothetical nature and weak arguments. However, Tolsani also wrote a papal authority had planned to condemn his Copernicus book, but prevented at first by illness, then by death. He could not carry out his plan. After his death, the church was heavily involved in the Council of Trent during the years of 1545 to 1563 and other matters. Thus, revolutions escaped prohibition for many years and eventually influenced Galileo Galilei, who read it and wrote on the subject himself. In 1616, Galileo was issued an injunction not to hold, defend, or teach heliocentrism. When he began writing dialogues in 1624, he intended to present both arguments equally. However, he wrote the arbitrator in such a way that he decided that the Copernican speaker had the most points that made logical sense, thus supporting Copernicanism throughout his book. When Galileo originally tried to print dialogues in 1630, he was ordered to have it printed in Rome. However, he left Rome because of the outbreak of plague and communicated with the master of the sacred palace, the chief censor, through writing. The master of the sacred palace ordered Galileo to have someone the master chose to review the manuscript to ensure it was fit for publishing. Father Master Giancito Stefani was chosen to review the manuscript, and the publisher followed all instructions from the Father Master. Galileo said during his trial in 1633 that he did not believe what he wrote, that he left his vanity influence his words and phrasing to make him appear more intelligent to his readers, but his plan failed when his readers came to the conclusion that he believed the Copernican hypothesis to be true because of his powerful phrasing. Galileo wrote and published dialogue on the two chief systems of the world, Ptolemaic and Copernican dialogues in 1632. Pope Urban the 8th, 7th, issued an order almost immediately to prevent the publisher from printing more copies. It was printed in Italian, not in Latin like Revolutions, so all of Italy was able to read it. The original title had been Dialogue of the Ebb and Flow of the Sea, but it was changed so it would appear that Galileo was publishing the fact that the tide supported his opinion, and the new title also appeared more theoretical. Also, the title with a C in it might have had the church feel threatened that Galileo was supported heliocentrism, which would have resulted in Galileo being charged with heresy. Dialogues was structured at several conversations between a supporter of Ptolemy, a Copernicus supporter, and a natural arbitrator. The Copernican supporter spoke Galileo's mind, and the Ptolemaic supporter was called Simplicio, simpleton in Italian. Urban was infuriated when he read the books and saw that the phrase he required in order for the book to be published about God's omnipotence was said by Simplicio. In the Pope's mind, Galileo was making a caricature of him by having Simplicio say that phrase. Personal vanity is believed to have led the Pope to cry for a committee to be made to determine if Galileo should be tried by the Inquisition and to determine how the book was published and not censored. Galileo was also insulted people who did not believe in the Copernicanism, a fact which did not escape the notice of Pope Urban VII's advisory committee, because Galileo did not phrase his word as hypothetical. Readers thought Galileo held the theory that the Earth revolved around the Sun. The committee created by the Pope also came to the same conclusion. Galileo knew what he was doing and must be disciplined for it. The committee created the charge. Galileo determined that Galileo held heliocentrism as a matter of fact and violated the injunction issued to him. With that decision, it was determined that Galileo would be tried by the Inquisition. The Inquisition did not need to decide if Galileo was innocent or guilty. They already knew he was guilty. The Inquisition wanted to determine what Galileo's intentions were. Galileo tried to delay going to Rome for the trial, most likely due to the Inquisition's infamous methods. He wrote to the inquisitors and said he would be happy to answer the questions by mail. He cited his failing health for his reluctance to take the 200-mile journey, and had 3 doctors write to the Inquisition to say he was unable to travel without risking his life. So it continues on the next page, but that's another one. And this was a page I found, because I pass this on the bus nearly every time I go to my college. It's Leonardo. So this is a wee bit, I don't know if Dell's listening or no, or he probably will be listening in the future. Dell, next time you're in Edinburgh, mate, there's this company called Leonardo. Giant building. There's a roundabout outside it, and there's like 5 jets, like steel jets, ornaments pointing up the way. And if you go here with your questions, there's the UK capabilities. They've got airborne and space systems, helicopters, land and naval. Much of the work undertaken by Leonardo sees us focus on the expertise of design, development, assembly, integration, testing, and certification. This approach is based on a robust and sustainable manufacturing chain. So these guys supply stuff to space and jets, and I'm sure if you've got questions about your flat Earth your flat Earth or the globe Earth, Dell, you can maybe visit this company, Leonardo, next time, because instead of putting people on the spot in the street, I'm sure these people will have maybe information firsthand, right, just to show you on the computers. So, that's that. So people, that's 2 o'clock. So I was just thinking about, after watching Dell's video and this whole nonsense that comes out of Flat Earth, that these people are Jesuit priests and they were trying to brainwash everyone and stuff like that, when really they were fighting against the powers that be. Bruno, Galileo, Copernicus, they were scared. They were teaching certain things and they were wording certain things because they were scared to say the truth, because they would have been burned at the stake. They're walking on eggshells, a bit like Poncho Pichan. Everyone's walking on eggshells. The truth can't come out. So I think there is this rise. I don't know if they're trying to use Flat Earth as a base to base off and then get into everything else, like chemtrails and all this crap. But I feel like the people who are supporting the spherical model, and we're trying to show YouTube and the people who watch us our evidence, I feel like we're getting persecuted, and these flat earthers feel like the church to me. And the way they act, the Bible, they come out of the Bible, and just the dogmatic beliefs, the way they refuse evidence, refuse to look at it. Just like Laurie Gale and certain people that I had on my hangouts, you've seen them in the chat all the time. And she started disappearing. In my first Moon video, she was saying, oh, this feels like a classroom. When's Validation Boy having a hangout? And oh, thanks very much. Again, I gave you a platform when you wanted to talk about your cults, and I helped you out there. But when I wanted to do my Moon stuff, Laurie started getting a bit funny. And then she sent me an email saying that if I wanted to take away the moderators, take away the Spanish, I could take it off her and she wouldn't be bothered. So I done that because I did want to do that. I wanted to take the moderators off everyone and just moderate myself. That way, I know if anyone gets blocked, muted, whatever, it's through me. I can't blame anyone. So after I took her off being moderator, she appeared a couple of times, but she was having an argument with Glenn from Vancouver and his wife, and then she made the excuse that she wouldn't come to my hangouts because they were there. But when I went to Validation Boys hangout or Jeff Stewart's hangout, she was there with them. So at the end of the day, she didn't want to hear. She wanted to have a party, a flat earth party. She wasn't interested in evidence. I was best pals when I was having digs at him, having digs at that, you have that. But as soon as I started actually doing something productive, like presenting evidence, people who were actually on my side disbanded. They just disbanded. Validation Boys started accusing me of stuff out the blue for nothing. And it's like Nathan Oakley and all that. Tell them they need to cut these skin. I've cut my ties with them anyway, but before. But I could see this thing with Nathan Oakley and Validation Boy. Oh, he showed me how not to get sniped. I was trying to tell you, Validation Boy, about 3 weeks before in your chat that you'll need moderators soon because you'll need to kick people who try and snipe you. They're trolls. But you wouldn't listen. So, Validation Boy, you're a sellout because your video, you've just written away the only thing that was worth anything in your content, and that was a descending voice, someone that went against these liars, and now you're with them. Your channel's nae good to me, mate. Nae good to anybody. Nae good to anybody. We'll see you in Globebusters soon, man. We'll see you in Globebusters. The thing is, I didn't watch Globebusters anymore, so that Morgale, man, can't listen to that voice. Oh, it's like a fucking. Oh, it's hard to describe. It just goes right, it pierces right through. It's like a dog whistle. It's like fucking, it really hurts. I know my voice hurts some people's ears, but the Morgale really does my head in. Anyway, guys, this is just a wee roundup. Poncho Chan, I don't know why everyone's going there. All the big people, Journalism, Mark Sargent, Lord Stephen Christ, Nathan Oakley, they've all been there, all sitting about. After the crap that's been happening on that channel, if you supported Flat Earth, why would you let that happen? If I supported animal rights or anything like that, I wouldn't have 24-hour channels with Poncho Chan running it all with all the top animal rights people going into it. It'd be making the whole scene look retarded. And that's what he's doing, deliberately. And the top people are going in there and dragging everyone out. They're trying to make it look legit. It's a fucking joke, guys. That's the joke. The joke's on you. The joke's on everyone. The joke's on everyone. Use people that won't look at the evidence. It's going to be on you soon, guys. It's going to be on you guys soon. And all this crap that we're teaching lies, and people are taking to the streets now and presenting this to people. Thank God, like I said, Edinburgh. There's hope. There's hope in mankind yet. But there wasn't one person that walked away from Dell convinced. And that's good. That's a good thing. Anyway, I'm going to have a wee quick look at the chat, see who's on. Have a last fag, cigarette. See, we didn't call homosexuals fags in Scotland. That's like an American term. This is what we call a fag. I think it's a sausage or something as well. Right, we look at chat before I go, see what people are saying. Have I bored you to tears yet? Chet, Nathan, there's a wank saying fake space, man space, JLB, delusional. John and I go way back, like 4 flats on a Cadillac. We went through the Jeff C. Hoaxer troll ringer together. Wild Mirror, I listened to him since Oracle Broadcasting. I agree with you. David, love when you were dissing him too. So we've got Shroom and I in the house. We've got Vincent Cumteeth. I think that could be Glenn. Anyway, guys, I'm going to hit the sack. I'm not going away. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. And by going away, it's a disservice to the great people that came before me that tried to prove this to the public and tried to present evidence. And these motherfuckers go burnt. by me putting my face on YouTube is the least I could do compared to what these guys done for mankind. I'm not saying we went to the moon or anything like that, but the evidence that I see, we're not living on a flat planet, guys. I'm sorry. And I'm going to keep pumping stuff out. I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. I'm sorry. Anyway, hope you have a great week. And keep in touch, because this is not the end yet, guys. We're just waiting for the bubble to burst. We're just sitting waiting for Poncho's head to explode, or something's going to happen. Something's going to happen over there. Something big. Anyway, take care, guys, and I'll see you again soon.